Okie dokie. Y'all, I turned on lights and push buttons today. And, okay, 7:30. Let's play an intro.
All right, a little bit of housekeeping real quick. Steve says, just now got the notification. YouTube is garbage. You're correct. YouTube is garbage. It is also, unfortunately, the powerhouse that gets the most traffic. And I'd love for all of you to just say, to hell with YouTube and start watching this on Rumble. But Rumble has its own little issues as well. And that's a thing. As far as just got the notification, Steve, you should have gotten two notifications. One that the show had been scheduled, and that was at around 6:30 this morning. And then, of course, when we actually go live at 7:30.
Yeah.
But there's your housekeeping. Good morning!
Yeah, good morning. Dare I say we're going to call this a total win?
Total win. Total win. Total win. Total win. Total win. I don't give a rat's ass what the hell you think.
Oh, yeah.
I don't give a rat's ass what the hell you think. Man, I give Dennis credit. He's consistent.
Indeed.
Look, why is Madonna mad that I told everybody I had sex with her? Who has Madonna not had sex with? Damn, Dennis. Damn, Dennis.
Get it.
Woo! Like, he wrote about it in his book. How, like, that was one of the most fantastic experiences of his life because then he knew he was rich and famous. Oh, I'm having sex with Madonna? I've made it. And I'm like, that's your benchmark?
I'm about to say, shit, I could do that.
Oh, okay. Whatever you say there, buddy.
Apparently, Krista has not had sex with Madonna. Good for you.
She's the one.
We applaud that. We should get you a national holiday. So, the total win is Johnny Depp winning over Amber Heard. And
let's say hey to some people real quick.
Okay.
We'll jump right into it.
Morning. Okay, Steve, you got first blood again. That's just How you do? I see Megan. Good morning. I see Ma and His Majesty, the Sergeant Major. Good morning. Dan's there. Jamie's there with us. Tiger Barrera's with us. Good morning. Steve. Jamie. And Jeff Goldblum's Silent Fart finds a way. Hells yeah. I also have Bubbles with us. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. It's good to see y'all. So now, there's...
We were going to talk about woke Batman, but nope.
Nope. We were going to talk about woke Batman, because honestly, we weren't expecting this verdict until tomorrow. Or at least today after this show, but really until tomorrow. But it's done. Now, the first thing I want to touch on before we get into the analysis and kind of the reason that this story is even worth talking about, and it is, on the face of it, it looks like a BS marital dispute between a couple of Hollywood celebrities that we shouldn't care about because, let me be frank, Hollywood celebrities are bad for marriage in every way.
Well, Hollywood celebrities are bad.
They're bad at marriage, they're bad for marriage, they're bad generally. But specifically in the context of what we're talking about this morning, they're bad at and for marriage. And I want to debunk something for you. I want you guys to pay attention to this because this is an important point. You have been beat over the head repeatedly in pop culture with the insane statistic that half of all marriages fail. That statistic is prima facie bullshit. The fact of the matter is that in order to get to the number that 50% of all marriages fail, the marriages that are included in that all marriages category are serial reoffenders, people who get divorced and remarried multiple times. Right? So that number that you want is what percentage of people get married and then divorced. And the fact is that number is legitimately substantially lower. It's closer to 20%. And even then, the statistic is misleading. Because what you're talking about when you try to justify, and this is part of the whole groomer culture that we've talked about several times on this show. Part of it is an attack by groups like Planned Parenthood, Black Lives Matter, and those ilk who seek actively to destroy the family because the family, the nuclear family, is the basic unit of social cohesion. Right? The family is the model for government. And what the government and its sycophants want is to destroy that basic competition in the market of power, control, and manipulation. Now, when you look at those numbers, the claim that half of all marriages are doomed to fail is made repeatedly in order to demoralize you and disincentivize you from taking the risk and loving a person.
Yeah, I mean, simply put, it's not half of all first marriages fail. So there's that. And look, I want to point something out too. Our buddy Alex from Polytech said this is a couple of narcissists. Neither one of them deserved a damn thing. And if that's your take on this, I can respect and appreciate that because...
But you're mistaken.
Well, I wasn't even going to say that you're mistaken. Okay.
Was.
Well, you and Alex play a little rough with each other sometimes. If you didn't know that you guys...
I wish Alex was watching right now because I love telling Alex he's wrong. He loves telling me I'm wrong too. We have
I was going to say, like, if you guys didn't... I know you're friends, but I can see how some rando tunes in, like, for the first time to watch Polytech ever, and they're like, God, these guys don't like each other. Anyhow.
I'm going to see Alex tonight, too.
I might see him as well. Okay, so anyhow, that is a fair interpretation, but I think that this is worth exploring for a couple of reasons, and it was actually me that suggested that this be a toter win, because with the way our culture is set up, the zeitgeist and everything, if a man wins anything, it's a toter win. In family courts, men get wiped out. I mean, women get custody somewhere around 85% of the time with children. And basically that other 15% accounts for a mother being so bad, so strung out on drugs, so unable to even take care of herself in the most basic sense. The court is forced to go, okay, I guess we have to give the man custody of the child. And that's not even counting the fact that 50-50 is not the default, which you would imagine that it would be. Some type of 50-50 shared custody agreement in a divorce where there's children. And then, of course, when there's money involved, like, seriously, you know the number one way a woman can get rich is to marry a man with money. And if you don't like that, sorry, not sorry, bye Felicia, because that's just reality. Now, let's look at Amber Heard and Johnny Depp specifically. Who do you think has more money? The chick from Aquaman or Johnny Depp, whose career stretches all the way back to Platoon? Probably Johnny Depp. Who had more to lose here? Well, I mean, I'm going to say...
How old is Amber? Is she even 40 yet? Because Johnny's scaring 60. I think he's 54.
Yes. Krista says, one small step for Johnny, one giant leap for wrongfully accused everywhere. Yes, and it's not just wrongfully accused. What you just don't understand if you've never been through a divorce, and I wish this is a thing that I didn't personally know, okay? But typically what happens in a lot of divorces is you reach a certain point, there are no good guys. There are no good guys. There are no bad guys. Okay? Like you have a marriage that turns toxic, and then you have two people that want to hurt and destroy each other, and because they've been married for some number of years, they know where everybody's pressure points is. Jeff Foxworthy has this old joke that's like, you could be losing an argument with your wife, and all you got to do is bust out that, well, I guess we'll just live like your fat alcoholic mother then, and bam, you are back in the game, baby.
And all of a sudden, we're going to talk about who's got a record.
Exactly. So, there's a lot of that going on here. Now, specifically, okay, one of the things that I think is good about this is this could be the beginning of the end of the Believe All Women. The joke is, Believe All Women, that's the dumbest thing Amber Heard. See, because it's a pun. See,
you know, I mean, just because her last name is Heard, I keep wanting to make cow jokes, but she's actually a good-looking woman. I've seen better, but she's a good-looking woman. Now, let's get into this a bit. There's so the basic summary, real quick. Actually, wait, no. One more thing. Okay, so I don't know if you caught this or not. When the jury first delivered the verdict to the judge,
yes,
the judge had to send the jury back, had to send the verdict back to the jury and send the jury back to the room. And she explained, and the judge almost slipped, but she caught herself. She explains to the jury, when you find for defamation, you must include an amount of damages. And then she caught herself. She said, when you find for one or more counts of defamation. Because when she said that, when she just said, when you find for defamation, it's like, oh, well, cat's out of the bag. We know they found for defamation. So she said, when you find for one or more counts. So, okay, we still don't know how much defamation they found for. And she had to send them back because the jury forgot to fill out the damages portion.
You know, and speaking of the verdict, there's going to be the news media that's going to report, well, this was a mixed bag, okay? There was defamation found against Johnny Depp and against Amber Heard. And somebody even asked further up in the thread why there was any negative judgment against Johnny Depp. And I don't entirely understand why, but let's be clear about what happened here. Amber Heard wrote an op-ed where she all but named Johnny Depp as this terrible abuser, both physical and sexual abuse. Basically, every stereotypical monster you could think of was Johnny Depp. And, of course, it caused Johnny Depp a few problems in his life, because being accused of, like, raping your wife is one of those things that makes people not want to work with you. So he responded, and part of the response to her op-ed is what got Johnny Depp dinged. So basically, every single count of defamation that could have gone negatively for Amber Heard went negatively for her. Of the multiple counts of countersuit that she tried to bring against him, only one went negatively for Johnny Depp, and it's the one where one of his representatives said directly that she did all this on purpose and planned it in advance. And my guess would be because they couldn't prove that she planned it in advance.
Clarification: he called her allegations a hoax.
Yes, okay, but look, but my guess would be that something about planning a hoax in advance, there's some technicality under the law that allowed her to win that one. But look, let's be real. If this was a baseball game and it was 5-1, you'd say the team that scored 5 runs kicked the ass of the team that only scored one run.
Not only that, what you're looking at there, and to your analogy, what you're looking at there is Amber Heard lost on all counts unanimously. Johnny won all of the claims that he made. And that was by unanimous concurrence of the jury. And then Amber Heard won one count against not Johnny Depp. So the two teams hit the field. Johnny Depp scored every touchdown. And then when it was all said and done, the Pee Wee League came out to play and Amber ran him over. It's like you're watching two... It's like you're watching 2 tennis teams. One of them, I'm sorry, 2 soccer teams. One of them has penises and the other one doesn't. And then the one with penises, after the game is over, is replaced.
Oh, no.
Is replaced by the Little League team.
So we're just going to make fun of Megan Rapinoe, too, on top of everything
and
else.
Megan Rapinoe manages to kick 1 goal.
Against children. Yes.
Because you're physically inadequate to the application of competitive sports.
So, what do you think cost Amber Heard this? Do you think it was when she did the cocaine out of the tissue?
That was brilliant.
Do you think it was when she said, "Oh, go ahead, tell on me. Nobody will believe you." Like that right there is that.
When she said, "Go ahead," I didn't punch you.
Well, that was going to be the next one. I didn't punch you. I just hit you. You're fine. You're fine.
You're a baby.
You're fine.
Don't be a baby. And go ahead. Tell them. Nobody will believe you. That, I think, hangs this whole thing and is a big reason that the whole tie-in with the Me Too movement is important. Because we've heard over and over and over again, believe all women, believe all women, believe all women. Men get abused. It happens.
Believe all women? You mean like Hillary?
Right? You mean like Jussie Smollett?
You should just bring that up so that we can have the chuckle.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. Amber Heard, yeah, Steve just dropped it there. Amber Heard is the Juicy Smollett of Christina Blasey Ford's.
Yeah.
Thank you, Cobra Commander.
Yeah, because we had to believe Christine, as Rush called her, Ballsy Ford.
Yeah.
Like, I'm afraid of being in certain types of rooms. I'm afraid of getting on airplanes. But I totally get on airplanes to fly to those certain types of rooms and stay in them when I can, like, go windsurfing or whatever her hobby was that required her to do the things. And, I mean, it just...
Okay, so let me bring this back together. So, Amber made some claims, and the claims that she made, her defense was that the article I wrote was not about Johnny. That was her entire defense, and I'll get back to that in just a moment.
No, I'm just gonna gaslight you right to your face.
Johnny Depp's lawsuit is a defamation suit, based on this article that Amber Heard wrote in. What was the newspaper? Anyway, she wrote an article in the Independent. No,
the Washington Post. Yeah, WAPO.
Okay.
There, yeah,
in
right.
WAPO. Yeah. So this is kind of a summation of the article. She says, I knew certain things early on without ever having been told. I knew that men have the power physically, socially, and financially, and that a lot of institutions support that arrangement. I knew this long before I had the words to articulate it, and I bet you learned it young too. We don't have time to break down everything that is intensely wrong with that statement.
How could you pack so much bullshit? Like, you want to talk about packing 2 pounds of bullshit into a 1 pound bag.
Right. She went on to say that she had been harassed and sexually assaulted by the time I was of college age. I'm calling bullshit. And here's why. You know, we've said over and over again, it's ugly women. It's women that you don't find immediately sexually attractive, that you hear complaining about getting catcalled. Listen, sweetheart, I understand that you don't get enough attention. That doesn't mean that you get to waste my time by demanding it. I'm sure you have many other valuable qualities. Being a vapid swimsuit model not being among them may be the least of your worries. So,
St. Michael
we're talking about people who have advanced narratives like the mattress girl and the bizarre and absolutely debunked statistic that more than 25% of women on college campuses have been raped. Not have been catcalled or harassed or approached, but physically forced to have intercourse against their will. And the statistic
it's just
that's repeated over and over and over and over again comes from one source, one article.
The Rolling Stone.
Which itself has... Didn't they retract the article?
They didn't retract the article, but they put out this bizarre... I mean, you want to talk about yellow journalism. They put out a statement that said, well, it's not entirely true, but we still felt it was important to run the story because the spirit of the article was true, even if we can't prove certain portions of the article.
But then, of course, we do have law enforcement statistics on the occurrences of rape, and as I think it was St. Michael that mentioned it earlier, there are more men raped in America than women.
Yeah, but we don't want to talk about that,
largely because of the prison, and men don't want to talk about that. Now, so that's one piece of it. Amber was also a big proponent for the whole Me Too movement, and this is not the only example, but it is a shining exemplar. The Me Too movement took what is an issue that some women are afraid to come forward when they have been victimized,
which is legit.
And turned it into a tool, a witch hunt. It turned it into a mechanism by which any woman could ruin any man by simply lying about him. And it's that lying that's a major factor here. And that's why the slogan was "Believe all women." You know, unless they said something about Bill Clinton or...
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Unless they say something, that's part of why what happened with Harvey Weinstein was so shocking. It's like he's in the In Club and he got taken down. But I suspect he was the sacrificial lamb so that they could.
Well, and Weinstein was part of what destroyed the legitimacy of the movement from the outset. He was basically the original sacrificial lamb to kick off the Me Too movement.
Yeah, Jeffrey Toobin still works for CNN.
Exactly.
And the only reason they fired fucking the younger Cuomo brother is the evidence. They didn't fire him for all of his sexual deviancy. They fired him for doing a backroom deal with his brother to hide his brother's sexual deviancy, which he beat in court, by the way.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. Like, let's call a spade a spade.
But the whole movement began with the sacrifice of Weinstein. And as I've said on this show many, many times before, I will not defend what Weinstein did as being moral. But what he did was not rape. What he did is he engaged in the solicitation of prostitution. The women that accused Harvey Weinstein are not victims. They are whores. They chose voluntarily to trade in carnal service in exchange for for monetary compensation. So they're not victims. They're whores. Amber Heard wrote this article, And she goes on in the article about being abused and this, that, and the other thing. And Johnny has sued her for defamation because the result of this article, which is clearly about Johnny Depp, even though she doesn't name him in the article, was that he lost several very high-paying jobs, not least of which, obviously, was the next Pirates of the Caribbean movie. And then I want to bring to your attention that there was another case related to their relationship in London, right? And she won this case. But I want you to see what the lawyer said, right? Jenny Afia of Schilling's law firm, who represented Mr. Depp, said, "This decision is as perverse as it is bewildering. Most troubling is the judge's reliance on the testimony of Amber Heard and corresponding disregard of the mountain of counter evidence from police officers, medical practitioners, her own former assistant, other unchallenged witnesses, and an array of documentary evidence which completely undermined the allegations point by point." Basically, what happened in the European case is Amber got up and told the lies she wanted to tell and was left unchallenged, and the judge said, "Hey, believe all women. You're an asshole, Johnny." When that case came to the United States and the case was heard again, Amber gets up on the stand, tells her lies, and then is confronted with, "Oh, but what about this audio recording of you saying, 'Go tell them I hit you. No one will believe you because you're a man.'" And all of a sudden we're like, oh, so yeah, you're full of shit. And then I want to touch this real quick and then move on to a little bit more of the analysis piece. I'm not saying this to be the case, but this lawyer certainly is, that this one sentence probably sank the case. In the trial's final week last week, both Depp and Heard took to the stand one last time, and Heard spoke of the op-ed that sparked the lawsuit in the beginning, and stated to the jury that she wrote the piece because of her ex-husband's power. "I know so many people will come out and saw whatever for him that's his power." Sick. Heard said, "That's why I wrote the op-ed. I was speaking to that phenomenon." Dumbass. Okay. Truth is always a defense against defamation. And I'm going to go back to the piece of the case that she won in just a second. Truth is always a defense to defamation. Right? If I go and take out a 15-page article in the New York Times that says Hillary Clinton is the devil, and she sues me for defamation, all I have to do is present the evidence and say, no, Your Honor. It's a fact. And suddenly what I'm doing is not defamation. It's journalism.
No, real quick.
Now,
super quick. Okay.
So she clearly, based on the evidence, does not have the defense that the claim she made in the article was true. So she cannot use that defense against a defamation claim. So her only defense was that via the ambiguity of the article, she was able to claim that the article was not about Johnny Depp. And that was her defense. The article was just an article in general about the phenomenon of abusive men and sexuality and blah, 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 blah. And then on the stand under oath, she says, "That's why I wrote the op-ed. I was speaking to that phenomenon about my ex-husband's power." It's like, oh, so you basically got up there and just said, "Your Honor, remember my cousin Vinny? Your Honor, everything that guy just said is bullshit." She did the opposite of that.
Right. Look, earlier on in the thread, St. Michael of Sigadillo says that America is not a patriarchy, it's a matriarchy. I would actually take what he says and expand it. There is no civilized society that is not inherently matriarchal.
Let's not go down that rabbit hole right now.
It's not a rabbit hole, it's a bald fact. We voluntarily serve women in all civil... No, bullshit. We voluntarily serve...
Stop. It's 8 o'clock. We don't have time to go down that rabbit hole. That is a complex conversation that I want to have on this show, and I don't want to do it short shrift by trying to squeeze it in at the end. I don't disagree.
I know, I just wanted to acknowledge St. Michael there.
It's insufficient without that deep rabbit hole. So, we haven't gotten to this yet. I want to go ahead and get to the statements. But yeah, so let's go ahead and do this. We'll start with Johnny's statement. No, National Post, I'm not going to give you any money. I had both statements pulled up there.
Well, Johnny Depp, basically, we summarize his with, here we go.
6 years ago, my life, the life of my children, the lives of those closest to me, and also the lives of the people who for many, many years have supported and believed in me were forever changed. All in the blink of an eye. False, very serious and criminal allegations were levied at me via the media, which triggered an endless barrage of hateful content, although no charges were ever brought. It had already traveled around the world twice within a nanosecond, and it had a seismic impact on my life and my career. 6 years later, the jury gave me my life back. I am truly humbled. My decision to pursue this case, knowing very well the height of the legal hurdles that I would be facing and the inevitable worldwide spectacle into my life, was only made after considerable thought. From the very beginning, the goal of bringing this case was to reveal the truth regardless of the outcome. Speaking the truth was something that I owed to my children and to all those who have remained steadfast in their support of me. I feel at peace knowing I have finally accomplished that. That is a very measured, clear, that's a very respectful statement.
That's a guy that put his cocaine box away for a couple of hours so he could write that sentence.
Unlike the whore on the stand.
Though apparently you can write on cocaine and write eloquently on cocaine. Just ask Stephen King.
Or this letter. Now, her statement.
Please, can I?
Oh, please do.
The disappointment I feel today is beyond words. I'm heartbroken that the mountain of evidence still was not enough to stand up for the disproportionate power, influence, and sway of my ex-husband. I'm even more disappointed with what this verdict means for other women. It is a setback. It sets back the clock to a time when a woman spoke up and spoke out could be publicly shamed and humiliated. It sets back the idea that the violence against women is to be taken seriously. I believe Johnny's attorney succeeded in getting the jury to overlook the key issue of freedom of speech and ignore evidence that was so conclusive that we won in the UK. I'm sad I lost this case, but I'm sadder that I seem to have lost a right I thought I had as an American to speak freely and openly.
Okay. She references the UK case, right? She says,
Where
and
they
ignore
don't-
evidence that was so conclusive that we won in the UK. That's the thing. What happened is there was a large pile of evidence, which included her personal individual testimony. The UK examined her personal individual testimony. And in the US, the body of evidence was examined, and it was determined that the remainder of the evidence, the huge body of evidence that she referred to, debunked the claims she made.
Well,
Now, it's clear that Johnny had a temper, and they
did a lot of drugs.
and did a lot of drugs, and that they had a horrible relationship and were both pretty nasty to each other.
Where they did a lot of drugs and...
But I didn't see anything about Johnny shitting in her bed or cutting off her finger. Yeah, by the way, let's not forget, we're talking about an abusive relationship where it may or may not be the case that Johnny slapped her or punched her once or twice. It's definitely the case, by her own admission, that she physically assaulted, beat, punched Johnny.
And sliced the tip of his finger
Nobody's
off.
claiming that Johnny cut her finger off. And nobody can dispute that she cut his finger off. I'm sorry, Amber, you are the asshole here.
Look, and she says freedom of speech that was so conclusive we won in the UK.
The UK doesn't have freedom of speech.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. There is no other country on the planet that has freedom of speech the way that the U.S. does. So to say that this is a
You could
freedom
have
of
just stopped it.
look, the point is for her to say that this is a freedom of speech case, a country that has not freedom of speech even backs that up. It's like, wow, you are a disingenuous, narcissistic bitch, aren't you? Like, Honestly, man, honestly, this is what happens when women get told they're pretty their whole life and they fucking know it's true.
Right.
Like, oh, I don't have to do anything. I'm good looking.
And to the rest of the to the rest of the thing about to the rest of the thing about freedom of speech. We do have freedom of speech in this country. In fact, you are free. You have the freedom to say things that are negative and defamatory of other persons. In a defamation case of this sort, what has to be proved is not that your statement was defamatory. It is that your defamatory statement was false, caused damages, and was made with malice, with actual malice. And understand, the thing that the jury determined was not that her statement was defamatory. That was a foregone conclusion. That is a fact which is immutable and inarguable. What the jury determined was that she made her defamatory statement, that it referenced Johnny directly, that it had measurable damages that it caused to Johnny, and finally, and most importantly as an element of a defamation case involving a public figure, that it was made with actual malice, that she defamed him with the intent to cause him harm. Now, if, like I was saying a minute ago, if I want to go and print an article in the New York Times that says Hillary Clinton attempted to get you all microchipped at birth using the Clinton Care bill that she sponsored while she was the first lady, it shouldn't have had any power. If I want to go run that article, that is a defamatory claim. That it is true, however, becomes a defense in court. I do still have those documents on file, by the way.
You know,
because they're hard to find on the internet.
You know what's funny too? She could have just said a thing that we all kind of already knew was true, that Johnny Depp was a weirdo and a party boy and he was difficult to deal with. You know, the thing with her, the mistake that she made was not just that she tried to destroy him. It's not just that she exaggerated the tendencies that he already had. She could have gotten away with that and this would have sailed right by. No, she had to take the lie to such an extreme, to take it so far. And then she lived in fear of going outside because of the things that her ex-husband did to her and just all of this other nonsense. That's what did it, okay? Because let's be clear, Johnny Depp, I think we can say, was a piece of shit. It's just Amber Heard was such a ginormous...
Was a piece of shitter?
Yes, she was such an absolutely epic piece of shit. That,
a piece of shitter.
Yes.
She dropped a grumpy.
Yeah, totally. She Amber Turded his bed. And we've talked about this before.
She straight train spotted him.
See, but that was an accident.
No, it wasn't. He took those drugs.
Oh, my God.
She took those drugs.
I guess.
We all saw it.
Yes.
On the stand. Now, in fairness, that was probably cocaine and not heroin. But my joke, is still valid. Now, let me put a button on this real quick, because I actually need to get driving.
Almost 10 after 8.
Yeah. But I want to put a button on this with Musgrave's point here. I just hear that he won $15 million. She got $2 million. Okay, so Johnny won all his claims, $15 million. Amber, the jury found, like I was saying about the replacement with Rapinoe and everything, the jury found that a statement made by one of Johnny's lawyers was defamatory, and that was a counterclaim that Amber made because one of the lawyers called her claim a hoax. I want to be as fair as I can in interpreting that. He called the claim a hoax. You're going to see, I've already seen a few people make the argument, but wait a minute, if Johnny won on defamation, then doesn't that mean that truth is a defense to defamation and libel? And so if if Johnny proved that what Amber did was defamation, then then the lawyer calling her statements a hoax should be resolved by that, right? Not necessarily, because what is proved, according to the jury, is that she defamed him. It was done with malice. It caused actual damages. That she defamed him is a thing that happened. The statement itself is not, the defamatory claims that she made are so vague and ambiguous that their truth condition is almost a non-factor for the argument. So it's like calling a philosophical treatise I can't believe I have to make this comparison, but it is akin to calling a philosophical treatise or a person's opinion a hoax, right? If I were to tell you that Joe Biden were the best president in history, it may be that my opinion is wrong and bad, but that doesn't mean that I don't believe it, right? And that's the difference with the hoax thing there. So, and there's a little more to that too, but as far as him getting busted with the hoax, the most probable and reasonable interpretation of that is that he probably just ran his mouth a little too much and said something he didn't need to say. I'm gonna have to put a button in it there, unless you've got something else to close on.
Just the world we live in, where
another bump, perhaps.
What? Don't defame me, son of a bitch.
You know cell phones are shiny, right?
Oh my God. Okay, seriously, just want to point out real quick, we live in a world where Johnny Depp winning a defamation lawsuit that included him nakedly speaking about the mountains of cocaine he did with other actors. Okay. We're going to call that a total, because it is, but that's just the world we live in. And wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's I need more coffee. I'm empty. We went 10 minutes over and I've gone through my
Yeah, me too. I'm also burnt. So y'all be safe out there. We love you, and we'll see you tomorrow for Firearms Friday.